Welcome to Herdly, where books turn into 3 stories, refreshing your knowledge in minutes. Today we study together Jessamyn Conrad's book, What You Should Know About Politics. But Don't, in which we probe into how political affiliations shape perspectives on governance, market dynamics, and societal values. Jessamyn Conrad was raised in North Dakota and Minnesota. With degrees from Harvard and Cambridge universities, she is currently pursuing a doctorate at Columbia University. Don't go away, Herdly the editor will be right back with the story. Today, I'll walk you through 3 stories that vividly illustrate how political affiliations shape not only our perspectives on governance, but also our views on the market and societal values. The first story delves into the contrasting ways Republicans and Democrats approach government intervention in the economy. The second explores how social values, particularly around morality, differ across political lines. Lastly, we'll look at how these affiliations influence perspectives on national security and foreign policy. Story 1: The Market Divide. Imagine 2 families, the Adams and the Bakers, living in the same neighborhood but with starkly different views on how the economy should be managed. The Adams are staunch Republicans who believe in minimal government intervention. They run a small business and take pride in their self-sufficiency. For them, the idea of government regulation feels like an unnecessary intrusion into their lives. They argue that the market, when left alone, corrects itself. Their perspective is shaped by a deep-seated belief that individual effort should be rewarded without interference. On the other side, we have the Bakers, loyal Democrats who view the government as a necessary force in ensuring fairness in the market. They've seen how unregulated markets can lead to disparities and believe that the government should step in to level the playing field, especially for those less fortunate. When the housing market crashed, the Bakers were directly impacted, losing much of their savings. They felt vindicated in their belief that without government oversight, the market could be unfair and even cruel. In one passage from the book, the author captures this divide succinctly. Republicans believe that the free market should be left alone and that government should get out of the way. Democrats believe that the market can be unfair and that government is needed to help people and to make the system work better. These 2 families, though neighbors, live in different worlds shaped by their political affiliations, each convinced that their approach to the market is the path to prosperity. Story 2: The Moral Battleground. Now let's shift to a more personal arena, the domain of social values. Picture a heated debate at a community meeting over a proposed law to regulate moral behavior, specifically regarding gay marriage. Here we see our second story unfold. John, a conservative social worker, argues passionately for the law, believing that traditional values should be upheld for the sake of societal stability. For him, the issue is not just about policy, but about maintaining the moral fabric of society. John sees the law as a necessary boundary that protects what he views as sacred, the institution of marriage. His stance is shaped by his Republican beliefs, which often align with advocating for laws that regulate moral behavior. Across the room, Maria, a liberal teacher, counters John's arguments with equal fervor. She insists that personal lives should remain personal and that the government has no right to dictate whom one should marry. For Maria, this law represents an overreach of power and an infringement on individual freedoms, values she holds dear as a Democrat. Maria's perspective is rooted in the belief that the government's role should be limited in the personal domain, focusing instead on ensuring equal opportunities for all. The book highlights this clash, noting, Democrats want to regulate economic life but stay out of individuals' personal lives, while Republicans want as little economic regulation as possible, but often support laws regulating moral behavior. This meeting, filled with tension, reflects the larger societal debate, showing how political affiliations shape not just policies, but the core values people hold. Story 3: The National Security Dilemma. Our final story takes us to the tense atmosphere of a town hall meeting discussing national security in the wake of a recent international crisis. Here, the debate isn't just about defense budgets, but about the very approach to foreign policy. On one side stands Bob, a Republican veteran who advocates for a strong national defense. He argues that America must be proactive, even aggressive, to protect its interests abroad. For Bob, the recent crisis is a clear example of why the country must never appear weak. His views are shaped by the Republican emphasis on a hawkish foreign policy that prioritizes national security above all else. Opposing him is Sarah, a Democrat and former diplomat who pushes for a more diplomatic and internationalist approach. She believes that military force should be the last resort, used only when all other options have been exhausted. Sarah's stance is informed by her democratic values, which emphasize building alliances and solving conflicts through dialogue and cooperation. The book captures this divide, stating, "National security conservatives who promote a hawkish foreign policy often clash with liberals who tend to be more internationalist, supporting strong diplomatic efforts before using military force." This story underscores how deeply political affiliations influence perspectives on issues as crucial as national security, shaping not just policy, but the very way people perceive threats and opportunities on the global stage. Now that we've seen these three stories, it's clear how political affiliations deeply influence how we perceive and interact with the world. Each perspective, whether it's about the economy, social values, or national security, is rooted in a broader belief system that guides our reactions to the challenges we face. As the editor of Herdley, through learning these stories, we can better navigate the complex landscape of modern politics by understanding the underlying beliefs that drive differing opinions, allowing us to approach debates with more empathy and insight into the perspectives of others. As we come to the end of our exploration, it's clear that political affiliations significantly shape our perspectives on governance, market dynamics, and societal values. Each story we've discussed reveals how deeply these affiliations influence not only policies, but also our understanding of fairness, morality, and security. Let me leave you with one last story that highlights this influence. In a small town, a public school decided to introduce a new curriculum on climate change, sparking a debate between two groups of parents. On one side were the environmentally conscious Democrats who supported the curriculum, seeing it as essential for educating the next generation about the urgent need for sustainability. On the other side were conservative Republicans who viewed the curriculum as politically charged and unbalanced. They argued that it focused too heavily on human activity's impact while neglecting natural climate variations. The debate escalated, revealing how political affiliations could shape even the education of our children, influencing what they learn and how they see the world. This story is a vivid reminder of how deeply political beliefs permeate every aspect of life, from the economy to personal values to education. By recognizing these influences, we gain a better understanding of the motivations behind different viewpoints and can engage in more meaningful conversations about the issues that matter most. As the editor of Herdley, understanding these stories empowers us to navigate the complexities of political discourse with greater insight, allowing us to find common ground in an increasingly divided world.